Happy Monday morning. If you're new here, my name's Taylor. I'm a first year medical student and I'm in my first block of medical school. So this morning, only thing I have is a 2-hour problem-based learning class. So we're heading to that now. So officially back home and working on some of my lectures. In complete transparency, I didn't get through all of my lectures we're now in the third week of my sort of just like basic science block. It's our first block. So it contains things like genetics, biochem, pharmacology, just kind of like basic, or should I say foundational basic science type concepts. And so the first week was mostly focused on genetics and things. Now we're more into, some more like membrane potentials and proteins and all of that. So right now what I'm doing is, since we had the majority of the afternoon off after our PBL this morning, I am going through and catching up on some of my lectures actually from week 1. So part of the reason that I'm also kind of going back is because I developed a I decided on a technique for studying for this block. We'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to be trying out a couple of different techniques for the first few blocks and seeing what works best for me. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm watching the lecture video, taking notes on the slides as you would kind of normally do. And then each presentation has a set of learning objectives. And so once everything's, the lecture is done, then I kind of hide my notes from myself, go through the learning objectives and try to fill out as much information as I can by memory. Hopefully that'll help kind of like synthesize some things. It definitely takes a little bit longer, but I think it'll be helpful. And then whatever I can't fill out because I can't remember it for whatever reason, then I can go back and sort of fill out what I can from memory and then go back and answer my own questions, essentially. And I can also kind of review all of that kind of stuff at the end of a week. It's all in one document. I'm putting all the learning objectives all in one document, so it's going to be a huge document at the end of the block of just every single lectures and their learning objectives. But hopefully that means I don't miss anything. So that's what I'm doing for this afternoon, and we're going to see how this technique works for this block.
In brain, it triggers signature stop code on that triggers non-sensitive mRNA and a small amount of dysfunctional protein. And these can occur again, small changes in the green brain, or sometimes they're actually in the introns as well. Efforts is a little different. Efforts muscular dystrophy is caused by a mutation in the dystrophin mRNA that alters the splice site, so you get an exon that's normally present in the pre-mRNA is normal.
So I was pretty wiped for the night, but I powered through and I did my last 2 recordings from the first week of class. So I honestly am feeling really good. Our video recordings for this third week are really light, and week 2 was better than week 1. So like kind of being able to just go back and make up some of those ones that I missed was good. However, right when I was about to go to bed, thank God for the group chat that reminded me that we have a quiz for our essentially like our clinical care class. So I have that class tomorrow. Some people have it on Wednesday, but either way, our quiz is due tonight by midnight. So we're gonna do that really quick. And then it is finally the end of Monday. Happy Tuesday. I am quite literally out the door because I did not give myself enough time to get ready this morning, but it is a white coat day, so a little bit more makeup, a little bit more professional, and I'm heading off to my humanities class. So I'm finally back home. Tuesdays are a really long day. We had a streaming lecture this morning, I think 8 to 9, maybe 9 to 10, something like that. And that was optional, so it's recorded so we can watch it later. And then we had our in-person humanities class. Today in our humanities class, we were talking about deaf culture and social constructionism. So that was a really interesting discussion. Typically how that class runs is we have readings beforehand, and then we get into class, have an in-class writing assignment that we do, and then we just kind of have a large discussion for the rest of the time. Today was a little bit different. We ended up having 2 writing assignments and then 2 discussions. It's a 2-hour-long class. So that actually felt like quite natural, but normally it's just like the one in-class writing where we essentially just like take like 5 or 10 minutes and write a really quick like discussion post on like a discussion board on Canvas, but we're all in the same room doing it. So yeah, that was, I enjoyed that class. I think it's a nice like reprieve from the rest of the like sciencey stuff, but and then a pretty decent break, I think like an hour and a half for lunch, and then we have our patient care class. And so today we had a standardized patient coming in. So these are people who are actors, and like they get paid to come in and be pretend patients, but they're also like very knowledgeable on the steps of like a physical exam or whatever it is that they're there for. Sometimes they'll act out like when we're doing interviewing, they'll, act out whatever the like illness that they're given sort of a background on themselves, and then they act that out as a patient for you to interview. But today it was just the physical exam, minus some of the like head, neck, throat things because of COVID. So we had done that with our like classmate partners last week instead, where we just kind of like looked in each other's mouths and did the ah thing and have the extra face shield on and all of that. So it was mostly like chest, like heart, lungs, abdomen, and then like the core neurology exams, like reflexes and strength and things like that. So that took the whole time because we had to run through all 5 of us in our group to all do the physical exam. And obviously this is all of our first times doing it, so there's stops in between and corrections and things like that. But I think we all got to feel a little bit more like doctors today, which is always nice. But now it is past 5 o'clock. I'm a little exhausted, but one triaged thing I have to get done is to wow, I'm getting so distracted. I am following up with my movers, so I do have to call my moving company, but related to school, and what I should have been saying is that I need to do my PBL research for my PBL tomorrow. So that one thing gets done for school and I'll be happy. If I get more done, I'll be even happier, but that's the bare minimum one triaged thing. I feel like that's like a good way to set yourself up so that you don't have too high of expectations for yourself. You don't have like 7 things on a to-do list that you feel like you need to get done. You just have 1, 2, maybe 3 things that you need to get done that day. If you do those things, like those are the things that need to be done, you were successful, you had a great day. If you get more done, like amazing, props to you. But my one thing today is PBL, so let's try to do that. Another out the door video this Thursday morning. It's funny because Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days that we don't have PBL at 8 a.m. We typically have optional streamed lectures, and then we have our in-person classes at 10. Today's one of those days. So Tuesday was humanities, Thursdays it is systems, or kind of a more like public healthy type of class. So I'm gonna go to my small group. All of these classes we do in small group. Pretty much all of our in-person stuff is small group stuff, whether it's PBL, we have our assigned like PBL groups, and then humanities we have a different group, systems we have a different group. our clinical practice, we have a different group. So it's definitely a good way to like meet and get to know a larger portion of your classmates. But let's go learn some health systems.
It's important that patients feel comfortable when we're a part of their clinical care and that they know who we are.
So after my systems class today, I stayed on campus for an info session, info, all of that session on this mentoring program for high school students. Essentially, it's like a mini med school program that they do in the fall semester. And so you can be a mentor for them and run their little tiny PBL sessions that they do. So that was a really cool thing. I like signed up to do that. I'm trying to be very pick and choosy about the things that I sign up to do because I don't want to overwhelm myself, but I like the whole mentor side of things, so I'm going to do that this fall. And then met my second year big that I'm matched with sort of as a mentor from the year above us for coffee, and then came home and watched a Zoom session on shadowing tips for first years. And now I am working on PBL research for tomorrow. Our case is on osteogenesis imperfecta, which if you watch Grey's Anatomy, there's a character who, without spoiling too much, has a personal connection to that somehow. So that was all I could think about when I read the case scenario. But I'm going to be doing that for the night, and then it'll be Friday, and this week has flown by. I literally cannot believe it's Friday tomorrow already, but I can't believe it's Thursday today. So just flying right through.
Yeah. So we need to do this every week.
And like you said, they're probably like a small percentage that like...
It's another Monday morning, except today is the day that it's all been leading up to. It is our midterm for our sort of basic science block. So the way that our school does midterms is that you take the midterm individually by yourself first, and then you take it with your PBL group as a collaborative exam. So we have our normal PBL session this morning, our normal Monday PBL to prep for the week. We have an optional, well, I guess it's not optional, but it's optionally synchronous, but it's recorded and you can watch it later. And then our exam for the whole afternoon. So seems a little unfair that we still have our normal PBL this morning, but everyone's pretty stressed out. This is the first real exam type thing that we've had, but hopefully it'll be pretty low key considering like the collaborative nature and all of that. Like if you aren't as solid as on a concept, like hopefully one of your classmates is. So this is it, let's do it.